YouTube. Welcome back. I'm Christophernegroni, and it's been a crazy week for all of us watch enthusiasts. Watches and Wonders is kind of like our Super Bowl, our World Cup. You know, you could say it's a big deal. But how's everybody feeling about these new releases? You know, it's always a huge build-up. Beginning of the year, you get this build-up, this anticipation, all this excitement leading up to Watches and Wonders. You get all the speculators, you know, buying up all the John Mayers, you know. Congratulations, speculators. You won. You'll have an influx of people like myself who like to make their predictions every year, which I got a few right. We'll touch on that later. We've all had a chance to see the new watches, initial reactions, the love, the outpour, the outrage, and now it's kind of the come down after the high, if you will. I've personally had enough time to soak it all in, and I think I'm ready to give my favorites, my top 10 releases of Watches and Wonders. Starting with a few honorable mentions. First, we've got the Chopard LUC 1860 in steel with the salmon dial. This handsome release by Chopard has classic dress watch proportions at 36.5 millimeters, in-house micro rotor movement, but the star of the watch to me is the stunning hand-decorated guilloche dial in a perfect salmon color. Without a doubt, my favorite release from Chopard. And then we step into the world of independent watchmaking with Laurent Ferrier and their release of their Evergreen collection. Both the square and the micro rotor designs now offer this evergreen color, a green that really comes off as a beautiful soft green. It almost has this organic feel to the color. It has a sort of grit to it. It makes for a beautiful muted backdrop for its sharp execution of hour markers. Offered in red gold or steel, my choice would be the steel gallet with the evergreen dial. I really love how Laurent Ferrier has taken that square cushion shape, what they call the gallet, and made it wear very elegantly, very thin. It's a classy watch. Those are just a couple of releases out of many releases that I feel are not garnishing the attention that they deserve. So now let's get into my top 10 releases of Watches and Wonders. Starting off the list with number 10, the Tudor Black Bay 54, not the GMT with the opaline dial, not the 41 with the redesigned case, burgundy bezel, with the sparkly wannabe Jubilee. I'm talking about the Black Bay 54 with its original Submariner proportions, a real faithful throwback. This is an even smaller and thinner release than the Black Bay 58 that we all come to love or hate. And many people are saying, why? Why do we need an even smaller 58? But it's really the details that make me love this release. Yes, it's small, but the dial layout, the case, the bezel proportions really nail the vintage aesthetic. They took away the graduations on the bezel, which is another original Submariner trait. Very subtle details that make a huge difference. And I think it's pretty cool that Tudor can play around and basically re-release an original Submariner. I mean, let's be honest, this is as close as we'll ever get to a re-release of an original Submariner. And it's a vintage Submariner that you can actually wear. You can enjoy, wear, and not worry about. It's $3,500, has great lume, 200 meters of water resistance, and it features that new T-fit clasp. So it's got all the modern goodies, but it's your vintage sub. You're gonna be able to take this thing, beat it up, put scratches all over it, and not worry about it. You cannot beat the amount of vintage-inspired fun you get out of this watch. So very nice, Tudor. Very nice. Number 9, the Cartier Santos in the medium and large size now features a blue and green dial. I'm gonna say it. I told you so. I told you so. I said there's gonna be a green dial, albeit I also thought that there would be a red dial, like a red lacquered dial. And maybe that's coming down the road. But you know, beggars can't be choosers, and I love this release. Finally, the medium size gets some love. The blue dial is beautiful, but the execution on the green dial is perfect. The reports call it a smoky green, which really describes the gradient nicely. I love that the Romans are those metallic applied numerals. I really love this release. It's the same Santos that we've all grown to love or hate for some of you, but it still features that ingenious sizing system for their bracelet, quick release. This green one probably comes with a green strap. Yeah, I need this watch. I love it. I need this watch. Put it on the list. Number 8 comes to you from IWC and the release of the Ingenieur, which was also a prediction by yours truly about a month ago. Now, this was hands down one of the watches that captured a lot of the buzz day one, despite Rolex capturing all the headlines like every year. People were definitely excited to see IWC release a proper Ingenieur. From all the initial reviews and reports, this watch was done right. It's 40 millimeters, 10 millimeters in height. Very beautiful. I love that. 45.7 lug to lug with the integrated bracelet. Everything looks perfect. They gave it that classic checkerboard pattern like many Ingenieurs featured in the past. The whole design really works, you know? It's very cohesive. It makes it feel very technical. And it has that scientist feel. They even made a titanium Ingenieur, you know? They gave it many different color options. Well then, Chris, if the Ingenieur was such a perfect release, why is it number 8 on your list? Well, that's pretty simple. It's what everybody has been talking about, and that's the price, IWC. 12,000 doll hairs. 12,000 doll hairs? Are you kidding me, IWC? A little cocky much? This is very unfortunate because everything about this release was perfect. The size, the proportions, the dials. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not gonna buy this because of the price point that it sits in. $12,000 competes with a lot of high-end watches or a lot of Rolexes, to be honest. You know, a lot of Bulgaris, there's just so many options in that price point. $12,000. IWC. And the titanium is 15,000. That's how much the Rolex titanium Yachtmaster is. I mean, I get it. Other steel integrated bracelet sports watches fetch much more. But slow your roll, IWC. Just because a Royal Oak goes for $30,000 to $40,000 does not mean this watch is appropriately priced. This is unfortunate because had this watch been $7,000, $8,000, even $9,000, I think this watch would be a hit. Not only would it be a hit, but it might even be a watch that's hard to get. But what do I know? What do I know? It's a beautiful watch, IWC, but I'll wait 3 years and I'll buy one for $6,000. Number 7, now we get into the crown, baby, with the release of the Rolex Yachtmaster 42 in titanium. We kind of knew Rolex was experimenting with titanium and that we'd probably see it on the Yachtmaster. And it's a wonderful looking watch. The way Rolex has chosen to add polished details in the beveling and the bracelet, it maintains the fact that this is an extreme yacht racing tool, but done so in an elegant, luxurious way. I love the size, the matte dial. It's a wearable, full titanium Rolex. Say less. Sign me up. I really cannot wait to see this watch. I want to try it on. A lot of reports are coming out on how jarring the lightness is. It's officially reported to be 2/3 as light as the Submariner. It'll be very interesting to see how availability of this model shakes out. I could see it going both ways. I could see many people have probably already called their AD asking for this model because it's the newest, hottest Rolex, right? It's a full titanium watch, the first of its kind. We don't talk about the deep sea challenge, okay? That doesn't even count, all right? But on the other hand, I could see a lot of people being turned off to this watch because it's a much more brutish looking watch. It's more toolish, you know, and not everybody likes that. When they're buying a Rolex, they want something, you know, that glistens, something that's shiny. So this watch is definitely not that. And for the tool watch lovers, they're gonna love this watch, you know, like myself. So I want to see this watch. I'm excited to see how it shakes out. All I know is that This release is a better looking Submariner, and I own the Submariner. I love the Submariner, but to me, this new Yachtmaster is really calling back to Rolex's roots as a tool watch, and I think it's fucking cool. I think it's fucking cool. Bravo, Rolex, bravo. Number 6 is the release of the Bulgari Octoroma, a surprise release, but a pleasant surprise, a watch that really isn't talked about enough right now. It's a great release. Bulgari have completely revamped the Octoroma line. They now offer a variety of dial colors, a time and date, a chronograph option, and a case that retains the Octo design language. The Octoroma line is now a watch that can be worn by any wrist. 41 millimeters in diameter, 9 millimeters thick in the time and date, and 42 millimeters diameter by 12.4 millimeters thickness in the chrono, 100 meters of water resistance offered with an additional strap. And the best part of this is the price point. So the time and date is $7,300, comes with that extra strap, and the chrono comes in at $9,150, under 10K. This is incredible value for a watch, and exactly where the IWC Ingenieur just doesn't make sense in this price point, because now you've got this Octoroma that's offering way more bang for the buck, original design, and it's just a better watch. This offering by Bulgari offers a beautifully finished watch with an interesting dial, case design, and gives you that everyday robustness. I think this is a home run right here. Bulgari knocked it out of the park. They know exactly what they're doing. The Octoroma line is going to be one of those watches that becomes appreciated over time. I mean, personally, I look at this and I like it more and more every day that I look at it. Number 5 on the list, we're going back to Rolex. We're going back to Rolex and the release of the Rolex GMT in two-tone and full gold on a Jubilee with a brand new bezel, black and gray. Just a stunning watch. Now, it's about damn time that they put the Jubilee back on the GMT. My prediction was that they would kind of lazily throw it on the two-tone root beer and the full gold root beer, but you got to give it to them. They went and brought the yellow gold back, and they made a new bezel color. So you gotta give it to Rolex, right? Wasn't too lazy. I think the black and gray bezel off that bright yellow gold, it just looks nasty. It's a very contemporary take on the classic GMT. If the rose gold GMTs are the subtle, elegant GMT, then these new yellow gold GMTs are the loud, badass GMTs. My only critique of this release is that I wish they had differentiated this model from the other GMTs. They could have given it a special dial. You know, they could have given it a sunray finish dial, a matte black dial, but instead they opted for that inky black professional dial, which I understand, you know, but they could have given it a special dial, or what they could have done, they could have brought back, you know, the solid gold nipple hour markers, you know, solid gold nipples. Who doesn't love solid gold nipples? Number 4 is the Patek Philippe Aquanaut 5261R. On release day, this was the only other watch that I saw that kind of took my attention away from Rolex just for a second. Now, apparently this is a ladies release, which is kind of odd because looking at the case diameter, it clocks in at 39 millimeters and a thinness of 10.9. So I see no reason why I can't wear this watch, or any man. It's not covered in diamonds, so get over yourself, guys. Get over yourself. This is a beautiful release. This was immediately a stunner. It's mostly the color combination that I love, but how can you not love a complicated Patek? I think the execution of the layout is perfection. I especially love the layout of the month and the day registers, the way they look like kind of like the Royal Oak owls, those famous owls. It's a really beautiful look. But the combination of rose gold and blue is just always a winner. I like that Patek did a grayish blue. It can be very easy to go over the top with this combination, but of course, Patek kept it classy as always. Number 3, we're going back to Rolex with the Rolex Skydweller in rose gold with the most stunning, the most beautiful blue dial that they've ever put on a watch. Like I previously stated with the Patek, the combination of blue, rose gold, it's one of those combinations that's always a showstopper. It's always one of those crowd pleasers. You know, when you're scrolling on a page, it's one of those ones that makes you stop. And Rolex took it a step further. because they decided the normal blue dial variant on the Sky Dwellers just wasn't pretty enough. They decided to add a little bit of green and make it more of a teal blue, and if that isn't more pretty, it's even better. This teal blue complements the Everose gold case even better. Everose has a beautiful warmth to it, and the more green in the dial has that same warming effect. It's one of those watches where you're scrolling through the releases, you're scrolling, you go past this and you think you know what you saw, but you have to go back and look again. Overall, an upgraded caliber for the Sky Dweller. They added a beautiful minty green dial. I was able to get on the list for that one, so we'll see. Fingers crossed, you never know. I'm also hoping that with this new reference change, that means that maybe they slim down the case. Maybe you slim down the case. I have not been able to either confirm it definitively or not, whether this has changed. Another little tidbit from this release, something that I like, is the 2 crowns that they put at 6 o'clock. It's their way of saying that there's a new movement in this watch, and it's kind of cool. You know, it's the double crown Sky Dweller. Number 2 on the list, this is where I may lose the masses. This is where a lot of you might say, nah, Chris, what are you doing? But my number 2 is the Cartier Tank Normale. Beautiful tank re-edition of the original tank. I'm an absolute Cartier lover at heart, so I had to put this release at my top 3 at least top 3. This Tank Normale oozes Cartier DNA, literally the first tank ever created, and it's a beautiful, faithful re-release. I'm a sucker for Cartier tank and all of its renditions, whether it's the Crash, the Tank Cintre, or even the Tank Chinois. It's the beauty of the tank, the fact that Cartier created the most perfect design for a wristwatch and continued for over a century playing with the design, form, and shape. It's truly an art to see how Cartier can take that form, that shape, and completely change it while maintaining the ratio and elegance of its original form. You know, Cartier isn't for everyone. I have my own tank. I have my Tank Louis, and I love this thing. Before this release, I was lusting over the Tank Cintre, but now with the Tank Normale, especially in that platinum version, that might just be my new Cartier dream watch. But for now, the Cartier Louis will do. But going back to the release of the Tank Normale for a second, and the release of the platinum one especially, I love how they brought back the essence of its industrial design, but they executed it in this platinum, so it's so fine, it's so elegant, it's a true gentleman's piece. To me, this is the utmost decadence in dress and design. This release was a winner, Cartier. Almost made my number 1. But there was a release that stole the show. And is it because I'm a little biased and love Rolex? You know, maybe. Is it because I'm a Rolex fanboy? Most certainly. But you know what? This is my list. And my number 1 release of Watches and Wonders 2023 was the revamp of the Rolex Cosmograph Daytona. And no, it's not the platinum with the open case back, which I don't mind, honestly. A lot of people were saying that, you know, it's a tool watch. It's not supposed to have an open case back. But you know what? The Platinum Daytona is not a tool watch, all right? So open case back, show off that new movement. I don't mind it. I love it. But anyways, my favorite out of the bunch, out of the many new combinations of the Rolex Cosmograph Daytona, is the white gold variant with the black dial. Already known as the Evil Panda, and evil it is, my friends. One could say devilishly beautiful. The subdials get the full filled-in treatment. Undeniable vintage vibes. Even more so with the improved elongation of the hour markers, a beautiful Zenith Daytona nod. This is the Daytona that everyone, including myself, will be lusting after. This is the watch people will be backstabbing for. This is the watch every VIP will be bribing their AD for. Some evil shit is gonna need to be done to get this evil watch. But with a watch this good looking, it's worth every bit. It might just be worth my firstborn kid. Who knows? That's evil. Evil, man. That's evil. But anyways, what were your favorite releases of Watches and Wonders 2023? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and before I forget, I did get a call. I did get a call for something very special, guys. I bought my Grail watch. I bought my Grail watch. Some of you may have guessed it already. If you've seen any of my videos prior, you'll probably be able to do a little detective work and figure it out. But I'm gonna give it a proper video, a proper unboxing. So you're gonna have to wait just a couple more days, guys. I'll have an unboxing on my next video. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Negroni out.